Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to be looking at meeting traffic situations. This is where there's limited space for both road users, and it usually involves parked vehicles, but it could be humpback bridges or even traffic calming measures. This situation's dealt with perfectly with the oncoming driver. My view of the cyclist has priority, because the obstructions are on the other side of the road. But this clip sums up people's terrible attitude towards cyclists.
You're on my side of the road. You're on my side of the road.
Mate, you're on the bike.
Oh really? RE59XGC. Have a nice day. You've not given priority to them.
I bet there's no way in the world they would have done that to a police officer riding a bike. Here's another clip from a cyclist, but this time it's the cyclist in front that acts like a complete plum. I would like to add though, both of these cyclists are cycling way too close to these parked vehicles. But watch what the guy in front does now. At least my viewer's got the right idea. The driver of the Mini should have priority, and they've got nowhere to go. But the cyclist decides to make an absolute scene. I wonder what justification he was giving to do the exact opposite of what he should have done. In the end though, the driver of the Mini fixes the situation caused by the cyclist. I also think my viewer did a good job. They didn't follow the poor example, and they held back nicely, kept seeing, and allowed the Mini driver to take their priority. So this proves it's not motorists against cyclists, it's effectively good attitude versus poor attitude. I'm going to use this clip to explain some basic principles of meeting traffic. If the obstructions are on your side of the road, effectively it's your problem. So in this clip, my viewer should have priority. But remember, someone's got to give you that priority before you take it. Now, these cars coming the other way shouldn't have moved. They should have let my viewer clear first, but my viewer's willing to fix. But it's the other vehicles that pile in behind that cause the major problem. If it was just this single black BMW, my viewer now could proceed, but the other drivers following have left my viewer no option but to reverse further. It doesn't apply in this situation, but if someone's already committed to go round some parked vehicles, you should give way even though the obstruction's on the opposite side of the road. All good here though, nice job by my viewer. We're going to be seeing this corner a number of times, which has been sent in by the same viewer. It is particularly awkward, but my viewer does the correct thing here. Those vehicles are already committed and there's nowhere for them to go, so my viewer correctly holds back and lets them finish. What about the furthest one though? Should that have started? Well, I don't think so. But my viewer still shows some good patience and lets the other driver finish. Spot on. So what's the problem with this particular bend? Well, as you can see, it's quite sharp and there's some parked cars around the other side also. But if we have a look at this corner from the opposite direction, you'll see that it is quite tricky. My viewer again does well. They were really slow until they found the time to commit. But look at the blue vehicle coming the other way. For me, they should have held back just like my viewer did in the previous clip. However, my viewer does find a little space, but unfortunately flow is interrupted quite dramatically if this happens. Again, it was a good job by my viewer, with no huffing or puffing. The same corner again, but from the original direction, and a car appears, and my viewer again helps them find a little space this time. All good, but the silver car should have approached a little slower. Again here, the van should have been slower and not committed until they knew it was going to be safe. They've bullied the way through there a little bit. And driven on the pavements by the looks of it. And to finish, we've got a cyclist who wants 1.5 metres only when it suits them. Again, this cyclist should not have come through, they should have waited. Are there any areas round where you live that constantly cause problems like this corner does? I'm pretty sure this next narrowing causes its fair share of problems also. This rider should have also held back and let my viewer finish, and then arrogantly decides to argue the toss.
It's a give way to oncoming vehicles. I'm a vehicle that's already oncoming. Sorry? It doesn't matter, you're still on the road. The rules still apply. No, you don't have to get off the road to give way. You just need to stop at the markings on the road. No, you don't. Go on. Go on, just go past me. Just go past me. No, I'm not being rude. I've got it on about 3 or 4 different cameras here. I was already like 3/4 of the way down, and then you just come on in the middle of the road, straight towards me. And that's why I've stopped. Because you've come up right there. I've had to stop. Doesn't matter. No, it absolutely doesn't. No, it doesn't. I have to give you space. I can't pass you within 1.5 meters, can I? So I have to protect you in that sense, hence why I've had to stop. No, I'm asking you now. I'm just asking you now, because I've stopped now, you can now go past safely. I'm stationary.
The non-Karen shows her how it's done.
Stupid. Right.
I love how this lady's continuing to argue the toss even when it's blatantly her that's at fault. Some more aggro again in this clip, where people are taking priority rather than choosing when to give way. It's the wrong attitude. So what should go on in this situation? Well, the cyclist does have priority and there's a space on the opposite side of the road for the vehicle to fit in. But instead, the driver just barges straight through. We can't see what gestures were possibly made, or we can't hear what was said. But it's obvious from the pictures, the driver thinks they were in the right. With the different clips we've seen though, I just would like to point out that have you noticed that some cyclists are happy sharing a smaller space and some aren't? So if you're a motorist, don't take that risk. You're putting people at danger and you're risking getting a fine yourself. Let's restore some faith in humanity with a clip showing how it should be done. It's easier for one vehicle to give way rather than 2. So remember, when you're in a meeting situation, drive or ride at a speed where you could deal with anything comfortably. Look as far as you can and always be ready to cede priority. And always be ready to deal with someone who's not doing the correct things. And remember, treat cyclists as if they were a motor vehicle. Give them space even though sometimes they'll be happy to share it. And above all anything else, be ready to give way rather than just taking priority. Keep safe and I'll see you soon.